All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. A little mishap there. I am your host, Lutch, aka TheIndianJesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How's everybody doing? If you could hit that like and subscribe, you know I would do it for you. And let's party. So you may or may not have seen a video that I had out the other day about Gen X and Zoomers. And so I saw a TikTok where there was this, rainbow-haired girl with a, like a bold nose ring, and she's like, "Oh, can we all just agree that Gen X is the worst generation ever?" And then there was a millennial, Stitch. It was like, "Don't wake up the Gen X. You don't want to do that." And then other people were replying, and it kind of took on a life of its own as a little joke. And the Gen Xers were like, "You don't want to." But then we got to the end, and there was this one dude who was kind of like an elder millennial. But he took things way too seriously. And he was like, "I have a bone to pick. You guys ain't done ish. All the boomers are taking over," and all that stuff. And it kind of, had me understanding things from a little bit different of a perspective. Not that the Zoomer who's complaining and saying that Gen X is the worst generation ever is right, but certainly that it makes sense that a Zoomer might think that. And so I just wanted to come on here and get your guys. There was a lot going on in the comments, but I wanted to talk to you guys directly and see what did you guys get exactly what I was saying? Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? Again, my main point that even though we look at we look at a Zoomer crying about their life, when they have things so easy compared to Gen Xers, that doesn't mean that they have a frame of reference for that. Shout out to Mujin1. What is going on? Welcome to the party. Good to see you. Mujin, did you see the video that we're talking about, the Gen X video I had the other day? But what I realized is, again, that it does make sense that a Zoomer has no frame of reference for how Gen Xers grew up. And I mean, that's kind of what Gen Xers talk about all the time. It's, "Oh, you have no idea. And then this TikTok goes around saying exactly that. Well, we hate that generation. And instead of understanding, which, I mean, if I was Gen X, I might get defensive. Certainly, 5-10 years ago when everything was, "Oh, these damn millennials," I was getting defensive. But now that I'm outside of that and I'm able to see the new generation and the older generation, it's really hard for me to not at least understand that Zoomers, Gen Z, have a reason, even if they're wrong, to think that Gen X is the worst generation. I mean, I think if you're here, we're all probably going to agree that the boomers are the worst generation, of course. But the fact is that they don't, the Zoomers, they have never experienced that. They have never experienced what a Zoomer has never experienced what a boomer is like at 40, 50 years old when they're, in their prime. To them, a boomer is just some old person that doesn't know anything about anything and is complaining about, the internet and all that stuff. And so when we think about it that way, like, of course, Gen X is going to have a different perspective of who the boomers are than the millennials, and of course, Gen X. Shout out to Lead-Laced Ink Eater. Welcome to the party. Just talking about whether or not it's reasonable for Zoomers to think that Gen X is the worst generation. Welcome to the party. But yeah, I mean, people were writing paragraphs. "You don't know what we went through. We had to do this. Nobody cared about us. We were the latchkey kids." I know that. I was brought up by boomers. I have a 40-year-old brother. Like, I know that. But I'm not making TikTok saying Gen X is the worst. I'm out here saying, hey, I disagree, but at least there's a point there to be made. And so if the Zoomers have never experienced the prime boomer energy that we haven't experienced for a long time, because the only thing has mainly been politics, and they've been, gripping onto politics. But again, that speaks to like, well, why is all of Congress either a boomer or a millennial? There's like four, maybe 4 or 5 Gen Xers. I might be exaggerating, but we should have seen a revolution of Gen Xers taking over the country. Where are all the Gen X governors? Where are all the Gen X again, congressmen and senators, and when did a Gen X run for president? Now, again, I understand that y'all were the generation that was supposed to be seen and not heard. I get that. But if you want them to understand that, then you have to be the one to explain it to them. Am I wrong about that? Somebody disagree with me. I just think it, and I don't know, maybe I wasn't as clear because we went into the original video. Like I said, I did a video on this the other day. Actually, let's just take a little look-see at what that is. Unfortunately, this was it didn't come out. Hold on. Didn't come out perfectly as I wanted it to, but let's do this. And again, the vertical streaming here is not ideal for sharing videos, but I do think it's worth checking it out. Let's do that, and that, and that. And let me just speed her up a little bit. We'll do that. Hold on. Going crazy here. Just in case you kind of missed what we were talking about. Scrolling. Let's just watch video here. Let's just watch and dive into it. As always, a shout out to Guam Tag. Welcome to the party. So, never thought about there not being many Gen X politicians. They were also the generation that really pushed the country's cultural ideas too. Yeah. And so again, I'm not saying that they're the worst generation. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you are a Zoomer and you think that, even if you're wrong, it's a reason that it's reasonable to think that. Welcome to the party. We also got Virgil Kane all the way from Manchester, England. Guys, if you do me a huge favor and hit that like button, share this with somebody that you think would have an opinion on this. So yeah, we're not going to go through the whole thing, but this was the original video that we were talking about. If you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Gen X is the worst generation.
I love Gen X. We all love Gen X. We all love Gen X. Okay, here's the thing. You do not seem to understand who Gen X is, okay? Gen X is boomers if they knew how to turn a document into a PDF, okay? They do not care enough. They get quiet and they get revenge. We do not summon the latchkey kids unless it is our literal only last resort, because we know we will have to pay a price. And that.
So when I saved this in Discord to actually show you guys, I was like, millennials will not protect Zoomers from Gen X. That is the general thing here. I couldn't find the original video, but I'm sure it's just a Zoomer, a Zoomer that looks like that, just going off. Gen X is the worst, blah, 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 blah. And then this lady obviously she's trying to help. She's trying to help.
That price is our feelings, okay? Because they will destroy them along with our kneecaps. You now have to go to the edge of the woods because that's where they like to play, is in the freaking woods. And you need to leave an offering of apology for them, okay? Here's what it's going to be. It has to be a VHS, not a DVD. That's only going to upset them. It needs to be a VHS of either the Goonies or some John Hughes movie, preferably The Breakfast Club. And you need to leave them a snack, not a healthy little freaking vegan snack. No, it has to be a snack with gluten and sugar, preferably Hostess. You will leave it there and then you will run. You will run and hope that they do not find you. This is the last time the millennials will step in and help you.
So that was originally the video that we were talking about. Shout out to Plungecast. Welcome to the party. Said, as a Gen Xer, we proved the boomers wrong about us. They wanted to ignore us as lovers or hopeless. We changed the world. So I mean, I agree that a lot of change happened between the time that the boomers came into power and now. And a lot of that absolutely was Gen Xers. But specifically in politics, again, as Guantek was saying, where are the Gen X politicians? But as he also says, the cultural ideas are really important as well. And so I'm with you. I do not think that losers. Gotcha. I'm with you that you did prove the boomers wrong, but now the goal is to prove the Zoomers wrong, because the boomers are still in power and they're still effing everything up for us, all of us. And so great, you know, when it was just you two and the greatest generation, was the silent generation, right? No, the great whatever, you know, the generation, the boomers' parents. Then yes, it was y'all were the children, but now y'all are the adults. Now y'all are the adults, and there's millennials behind you. The millennials have, you know, I mean, better love them or hate them. We got AOC, we got Alex Stein, we got MTG's kind of old, but we got Lauren Boebert. We got these people doing stuff. There's again, whether you love them or hate them, there's the millennials. We're brought up this notion of protesting for what you believe in on college campuses. And so I think we definitely need to see, okay, well, maybe that's not the best way to do things. But if Gen Xers had been the ones to do that, maybe millennials would have known, okay, maybe you know, bringing wokeness everywhere isn't you know, the way to go, and we would have been able to do more. Punchcast is going to say New Zealand, we have a few politicians from Gen X. Yeah, same here in the U.S. There's a few. There's definitely a few. And of course, as individual people, this conversation is not about individual people. We're not talking about if you are a Gen Xer, you did bad, or you. That's not what this is about. But we're talking about the collective of the generation. And then if you are, you know, 17 right now, and you're looking at the world, you're like, again, wait, where are the Gen Xers who fought the boomers and won? It's not that y'all didn't fight, and in many ways, it's not that y'all didn't even win, but they can't see it. They don't know. And when they think of a boomer, they think of an old fuddy-duddy, you know, don't know how to do anything. So they don't have a perception of what a prime boomer is really like. Shout out to Unwanted Foe. Welcome to the party. She's definitely a young Gen X. Okay, yeah, so we got a few. And that's what I'm saying. There's individuals, but as a generation, did Gen X really take over for the boomers? And the answer is unequivocally no. Is there a reason? Sure. But that's not the Zoomers' problem. Punchcast, and I guess it's different in America. Oh, let me get the music back. We vibing with the music. Do you guys like the music? Do you care? Yes, no? Let me know. I said, I guess it's different in America, but here in New Zealand, we are more grounded and in touch with our communities. Yes, so that is a big thing. You know, even as Guamtek was talking about before with the culture, is that we moved away from religion so much, but there also was no the Gen Xers didn't create an alternative, and so y'all were chill, so it worked where you're kind of like not really religious, but kind of religious. You believe, but you don't. That worked. But then a couple more generations have come around, and there's no moral structure except for religion. And you know, so many people can't get into religion. Somebody like myself, I was born in the church. I was born in the Catholic Church. I was confirmed in the Methodist Church. But you know, after doing a lot of reading and a lot of soul searching, I do not have the choice to believe in God. And that's why my goal is to build that structure, build that moral structure, so that, okay, if you're a good person because you're a Christian, great. If you're a good person because you're a Muslim, great. If you're a good person just because you're a good person, great. But if you don't believe in any religion, you still need to have a moral structure. And there's just too many people outside of that to say, oh, well, just go get a religion. But you're absolutely right. The idea of value in community, that's, as we moved away from religion, it should have been the Gen X generation. Again, we're not talking about individuals. It should have been the Gen X generation that created a value in community outside of the church. How's my volume, guys? Let me know. Context said the one thing I do think Gen X can be criticized for is that they were screwed over so much that they just lost any ability to help themselves or have hope. Every Gen Xer I know basically lives by, oh, well, that's just how life is. You can't change people or circumstances. It's just crazy to try. Yes. 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 Absolutely. This is, and again, if you look in the comments of the original video here, there's paragraphs of people saying exactly this. And so again, as a millennial, as a mid to elder millennial who had a very early millennial older brother and boomer parents, I get it. But you can't expect the Zoomers to get it. You still have if you want this, then the last thing you need to do is get the Zoomers to understand that you earned this. You earned it. We talk about the pickle jar, like, oh, I loosened it for you. The boomers are the pickle jar. Y'all absolutely loosened the pickle jar for us. But we still don't have any pickles. So the last thing you need to do is let the Zoomers know, and not a condescending way, but like, hey, we had an issue. You guys have the opportunity to do a lot because of what we did. We didn't finish the job, but you can, and we can do it together. That's really what I'm seeing. Shout out to Dan2792. Welcome to the party. So I believe it is not religion, but it's a relationship with Jesus. And so, whatever way you want to articulate that, that's fine. I think that's great. If you have some type of way to guide your behavior, that's great. But again, I don't have that option. I don't have the option of a relationship with Jesus. I, every single day, try to talk to God, try to find that. And every single day, I am left empty. I will continue trying, but right now, I don't have that option. That's not in my hands. That's in God's hands. And God is choosing to say, no, Lech, you will not get any communication from me. And I mean, okay, I don't know. I'm not God. So, but it can't be the only answer. And again, as we see with the Zoomers, there is a big push back to religion, but that's because they see all the wokeness, and the only answer to that is religion. But is the religion true? That is a fundamental question. We can't build our society on a lie. Welcome to the party, Dan. We also got Melted Mind Media in the building. I'm not a boomer. Get out of here. One of the posts said Gen X has really contributed to creating the hard times of the weak men. The weak men create hard time cycle. I think that's right. I think that's good. I mean, I think that's right. Not wanting to do anything because it's too hard. What do you want me to say? Lead-laced Ink Eater said, why are the Gen Xers in the spotlight these days? Well, because we have an election coming up, and how old are the candidates? They're in their 80s. Why are those our best options? Again, where were the Gen Xers that in 2024 we should be all Gen X? There should be no boomers in Congress. And I personally, thanks on the volume, guys. I personally am not saying that. I'm personally not saying Gen X is the worst or anything, but they have a point. I'm saying that said, I will take Xers over Zoomers or Alpha any day. Agreed. And Lead Lace Ink Eater agrees. Hey, a shout out to Unwanted Foe. So God told me to have you feed Morty. That is right. Every single donation or super chat comes with a treat for my co-host, Morty, who is a dog. Come here. We're going to get him. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Let's eat it up, buddy. Eat it up. No, this way. There we go. Yummy. There he is. Thank you. So very, very much. Gotta feed the Morty. Hey, we also got Just Talk TV in the building. All y'all coming after me for being a boomer. I mean, maybe. maybe I'm a boomer in the sense that I'm trying to bridge the gap. Maybe. I don't think that's how that works, though. I don't think that's how that works, though. I think I'm on point. And I think if we get to a place where we, again, just make it reasonable for Zoomers to express that they don't know why Gen X didn't take over the Boomers, then they can understand. They just have to be told. They have to be taught. It's not something they automatically know. Thank you again, unwanted folk. Podcast said now. Wait, no, that's something. There we go. Millennials would lose their minds if they had the lives we live. That's why they won't understand. I sat down with my niece and nephew, both Zoomers, who don't understand how easy it is. But exactly. But they're the children. They're the children. You're the adult. I agree. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but at least in the next 5 or so years as they get older, and they have the ability to understand. If you're sitting them down and say, "Well, you back in my day, we had to walk uphill to school both ways and stuff." That's not how you change people's minds. That's not how you change people's minds. You have to understand where they're coming from and that it is valid that they don't understand why Gen X is not the worst generation. Shout out to Caleb Crow. Welcome to the party. And quote, "Not everyone needs a religious compass, but it's nice to know how one works." I like that a lot. Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't need to have a particular religious compass. And I would say I would replace religious compass with moral compass, but I think it says the same thing. Welcome to the party. Yeah, I don't know the exact years, but yeah, like their retirement age. Their retirement age, and they have not retired. Why? So, okay, Punch Class is saying, yeah, sat down with my niece and nephew, both Zoomers who don't understand how easy it is now for them. Every generation blames the one before. It's the same cycle. But that's not what's happening. Well, first of all, the generation before would be the millennials. So if they were blaming the generation before, it would be blaming millennials, not Gen Xers. Secondly, you're right in the sense that this is a cycle, but you skip the generation. So millennials hate the boomers because the boomers were the ones that were in charge. But what was supposed to happen is that then Gen X takes over, and then the Zoomers hate the Gen X because they're in power and doing the wrong things. But now the Zoomers don't like Gen X because they're not in power doing anything. And so again, you know how exactly as Movement One says, if you opt out, then you have no reason to complain. And fair enough. I don't think a lot of Gen Xers are complaining, but the Zoomers are. And if you don't want them to complain, then you gotta speak up. Yeah, that's my buddy boy. You're gonna be 15 this summer. Shout out to Morty. Yes, I'm much too young to be a boomer. Thank you. Caleb Crow asks thoughts on Social Security running out in 2035. I think it's. I mean, I don't know like the ins and outs of exactly why this is happening, but the fact that we've known that this system wasn't going to work for a long time. So what I mean is that I don't know if the failing of Social Security in 2035 is based on something that they knew was going to be the case when they started Social Security. So if they knew, then that's extremely frustrating. But even if they didn't know when they first started, we've been hearing about this for years. And there's been no push to try to fix this for the future generation. And again, this is where Gen X would come in and be the ones to say, okay, you old people, you can't keep stealing money from the younger generation. But because the boomers are in power, they're like, yep, let's just keep taking this money. And so again, I don't know the specifics, but it reminds me of the comparison between Chernobyl and the Rona lockdowns. I remember that in Chernobyl, if you're not familiar with the nuclear meltdown thing, a lot of or some of the stories that came out of that was that older people would want to rush in and help and get the younger people away from there, because they could see that they're going in this and they're probably going to die, but they've already lived a life. Whereas the young people, let them get out of the way and live a life. But then we go to the Rona, and it's all, well, I don't care about these kids. I don't care if they're going to lose social ability. I don't care if they're going to fail school. I don't want to get sick. When did that change? And that comes from the boomers just being the ones that are in power from the time they were in their 30s, just like every other generation. Not good. Just Talk TV. So I think it's easier for millennials to get information, but it's not easier to buy a house and retire. Yep, this is exactly for millennials. This goes even more so for the Zoomers. So again, when Plungecast, when you're talking about how easy the Zoomers have it, yes, in some ways, but in some ways it's completely different. This idea of having a nuclear family with one income household, and you buy a house and you have a nuclear family and go on vacation. That ain't a thing. You can tell me that Zoomers have no reason to be upset about that? Again, I'm not saying that their anger towards your generation is the correct thing. I'm just saying it to make a sense. Context said having any kind of constructive conversation with Xers is like pulling teeth. The apathy and lack of motivation is just so hard to deal with. Where's the enthusiasm? Where's the zest for life? And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Gen Xers, but I think the answer would be the boomers beat it out of us. And again, I think the Zoomers they at least as they get older, they'll be able to internalize that and understand. All right, you helped loosen the pickle jar. We're the ones that got to open it and take the pickle out. But we never would have been able to open this jar if you had not loosened the lid. Gen X, you loosened the lid of getting rid of the boomers. But now that the boomers are still around and the Zoomers are trying to do the same thing, they're like, well, if you were working on opening the jar, why do I still have a closed jar? And what they don't understand is that, well, the lid was on very, very tight. And so I loosened it for you. Did anybody miss the analogy there? Plungecast said, I agree with Mugen. We do need a moral compass. Without a moral compass, people ignore taking part in community and only complain because they don't see the work being done by their peers. Yes, well said. And that's why I prefer the terminology moral compass to religious compass, because as we move forward, the idea of religion being central to one party is going to go away. There's just as things, as the left grows and grows and grows and gets more and more and more extreme, then there's going to be more secular people like myself on the right in the conservative spaces and that has to be okay. You have to be okay with that as Christian conservatives, or you're going to lose. That's it. Context said, I know I'm being hard on Xers, but my wife and I both had massive issues in our families due to Gen X parents Gen X parents not taking anything seriously. Almost all their kids have some kind of major problem. Yeah, and shout out to Funk Master General. Welcome to the party. So you're not being hard on Xers. You're not being hard on Xers. I was talking to you guys about how I stumbled across estranged parent TikTok. It's a whole other thing. We might do a thing on it, but point being, the point of bringing this up is that there are it's mainly this one woman, Fired Mom. You go look up her stuff, and she's an estranged parent from all three of her kids, and her whole page is about, my kids won't do this, and they're mean, and they won't let me see the grandchildren, and then of course there's all of these people who are estranged from their parents responding to Fired Mom, being like, this is why you're estranged. You don't get it. And so, I mean, as hard as it could be to talk to Gen Xers, when it comes to talking to boomers, it goes 10 times worse. But again, We know this because we saw them in their prime. The Zoomers never had that experience. Shout out to Kurt Walker. Welcome to the party. The Gen X is heavily outnumbered by boomers and millennials. That's why you don't see many of us in politics. We have one of the smallest voting blocks of all generations. Again, very true. So this is why now you've got the millennials and the Zoomers on your side. If you can show why you did this, if you can show this, if you can demonstrate this, if you can get the Zoomers to understand this, we are all on your side. We all hate what the boomers have done to America. We all hate that. And again, as somebody who had had boomer parents, I don't know why I said had. There's still a lot. I have boomer parents. I have a Gen X brother. I understand. But as Bontek was saying, where's the enthusiasm? Where's the zest for life? If it's because it got knocked out of you when the millennials were children, I'm gonna be 35 this year. We got it. We got this. But we have to work together. You have to be engaged. You have to be willing to understand that things can change. And if you don't do anything, things definitely won't change. Shout out to Kurt Walker. Welcome. Just said we don't have enthusiasm for working multiple full-time jobs and still not being able to afford to buy a house or even retired. We are tired of struggling. Yeah, this is when millennials and Zoomers are frustrated about things, even though materially our lives are so much easier. That doesn't just mean our lives are easier. And I think a lot of the problems, a lot of the issues that we see with technology and all that stuff shows that it was better for the human mind. It was better for y'all to live without social media, to go outside and play, to be the latchkey kids and have the independence. I just saw a TikTok, some guy was talking about, responding to this whole thing, and he's a Gen Xer. If you remember one time when his older brother went to work, it was a Thursday night, and they were at dinner. Gen X kid and boomer parents. Thursday night at dinner. Hey, have you seen your older brother? No. Me neither. When's the last time you saw him? Reminder, it's Thursday night at dinner. Last time I saw him was Sunday at church. And the mom responds, okay, well, tomorrow's fajita night. So if he doesn't come back by tomorrow, then we'll see what's good. It's a different world now, guys. And you know that because you've lived it. They don't know. They are the children. They are the children. Shout out to Umar. Welcome to the party. So can you say, I love you, Anaya? Is that it? Anaya? Sure. I love you, Anaya. We also got Dylan Soup in the building. Welcome to the party. I was watching this guy debated Pelosi on populism at Oxford. Have not seen that. I definitely got to check that out. Guamtag. So the easy thing about talking to boomers is they're still very easily manipulated if you know the verbal tactics. Yes. But again, that right there, this is how the Zoomers see the boomers. They're very easily fooled. They fall for memes on Facebook. That's what they see. And so when they look at Gen X like, you couldn't beat this? They're wrong because that's not how boomers were. But they don't know that. There's a reason their generation was so easily fooled by shitty car salesmen. Indeed. Plungecast said Gen X is either causing children or ignoring divorce, or ignoring them, hurting, having. Gen X is either hurting children or ignoring them. Sadly, a divorce has passed us by and left us separated from the Zoomers. Yeah, I definitely agree that there is reason to be beaten down as somebody who had to deal with the prime Gen X, or excuse me, the prime boomer. I'm with you there. Again, the Zoomers are the ones that don't say that. Hey, well, a shout out to you and Anaya. Glad to have you guys here. And thank you for the sub. I very much appreciate that, guys. Just doing a chill stream here, but usually I am live down in the studio with everything set up every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And okay, raising. So what were we saying here? So Gen X is either raising children or ignoring them, sadly, or divorces passed us by and left us separated from the Zoomers. Yeah, that makes sense. So again, here I'm not trying to. Something should say causing children. I like that. So yeah, I'm not here saying you have to make it up to the Zoomers or anything like that. That's not at all what we're doing here. It's more about you have points to be made, and they have a gap in their knowledge, not due to like weaponized ignorance, just from being a child. They don't know. So let me go back into here. There was a similar one. Get rid of the vibes. So yeah, basically all I had said up until what I skipped was everything that we just talked about. So this is a different TikTok on the same topic. Was the boomers. But remember that. It was the boomers. That is going to come back later. So this is another one in the same vein, but had a bunch of people, a bunch of reactions, and it's beautiful.
Who let Gen X off the hook? Why are we talking shit about those guys?
Don't do that, sir. I don't know what game you're playing, but we do not invoke Gen X for a reason. They are the lost generation because they want to be lost. We do not need to go find them. They're perfect where they are. You know how millennials, we've like seen some shit and then we talk a lot about it all the time. Gen X has seen more shit, but they don't talk.
Right. Again, with the millennials being the therapy generation and everything is, I'm neurodivergent and I'm on this and that and that. Gen X went through more and said less.
Just stare.
We all did. We did. We had a meeting. Not sure if you missed it. I don't even know if you have qualifications to be invited, but the millennials decided that we're not gonna open that can of worms. Let me tell you something about Gen X.
Hey, shout out to Wayne Thompson in the building. Welcome. Said Gen X here. I'm getting a kick out of all these Gen X posts these days. Raised two boys, the poor things. Welcome to the party. See, that's the attitude that we want to see. That like, hey, yeah, we maybe we fucked up, but the boomers beat it out of us. And now, Gen Z, you got to take up the mantle. We did what we could. You just don't understand how bad the boomers were. Welcome to the party, Wayne. Plungecast. So we really don't have much to say to them when we're separated from them. When we do, we get the same treatment we got from the boomers. Ignored. Well, so do it better. Do it better. You know exactly what it was like to get lectured by boomers. So don't do that. Are we trying to say that somebody who's 15 years old cannot listen to somebody who is 50 years old? Of course not. You just have to, the way that boomers talk to their children is not the way that Gen Xers should be talking to Zoomers. This has a lot to do with why y'all are so beaten down. And we, as millennials, we understand that. But again, they don't know. And so now you have a new opportunity where the Gen Z and the millennials are ready to back you up. Now, because even, most millennials, we're still not like set up. We don't have money to be like organizing things. We could be a part of something. But now that you have us, set something up. Instead of, campus encampments, do something, you know what I mean? There is absolutely ways to do it. And it's not one person. I'm not saying one person needs to do it. It's a generational thing. But this does not explain away why Gen Z should not be upset. So let's say more of the story. We all got problems and are all knocked up. Indeed. Yeah, the boomers and the church. Very, very strong institutions. I mean, call them an institution. But now we have the numbers. The Zoomers are getting older. They're getting more mature. They will be more open to understanding the actual circumstances as to why things are the way they are. Unless we just, well, there's no point. Okay, then lose. Then lose. Let them hate you then. I'm not a Gen X. You do whatever you want. But I'm just giving my opinion. Hey, I think that you can get the things that you always fought so hard for and failed if you bring us on board. Plungecast. However, social media is used to weaponize them. Which one? So we got ignored. However, social media is used to weaponize them against us. Who's them? The boomers or the zoomers? So if you want anything to blame, social media manipulation. Sure, but I mean, we all have social media manipulation. We all are subject to social media manipulation. And certainly millennials are way more engaged in social media, especially at the time, than Gen Xers. So again, why are there a bunch of millennials in Congress? Why were there a bunch of millennials willing to protest? Again, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm saying they were willing to do it. You couldn't. Hey, shout out to Mega Moo 32. Welcome to the party. Another awesome streamer. Definitely go check her out. Welcome. So do you think it's parenting too? In what way? What do you mean? Because I mean, yes, but that's kind of broad. So where are you coming from with that? What do you think about the parenting? Wayne Thompson said, I use video game references to raise my kids and yelling at them to find work since they were 15. You can have the resources ready to go when you level up, or you can start at 0 and be behind. Yeah, I think I agree with Guamtech here. It's an awesome idea to be able, showing this is where we messed up, or even if it's not where we messed up, this is what I've learned that will help you. And again, I know that they're not going to be super open to the old fogey. Oh, the old guys just want to tell me what's going. I get that, but they're the children. They're the children. You're the adult. Funkmaster General said, we also solved our problems with fists, not conversations. I mean, fair, but you still got problems, and we don't solve problems with fists anymore. So you got to start having some conversations. That's the only way that it's going to work. Negamu 32 said their mentality, refusal to hear opinions other than theirs, have a civil discussion. Seems like the parents gave these kids whatever they wanted and never said no. So are you talking about? So you're talking about Gen X parents who raised Zoomer kids, or are you talking about Boomer parents and letting millennials get away with everything, and that's why millennials were doing what they're doing? What's that? Yeah, who's they and which generations are we talking about? I think I know what you're saying, but I'm not sure. When Chelsea, victimhood generation can't understand that we did what we did to survive. Yes, correct. You are correct, sir. They can't understand that because they haven't been. They can't understand it primarily. They don't have a first-hand experience of it. But they can absolutely understand that this is a reason why things aren't the way that I want them to be. The Gen Xers tried. It's not like they didn't do anything. They tried and they failed because the boomers are so bad. And now we all need to come together. Yeah. So millennial parents and Gen Z refusing to hear. So millennials are refusing to hear opinions other than their own and having a civil discussion. It could be. I mean, it definitely has to do with the idea of children should be seen and not heard. That idea is not good for developing a person. And I saw something from a Gen Xer who was saying, it's really interesting how boomer parents were really, really, really good at making children or making people into good children. But what they never taught us was how to be good adults. They never taught us how to be good adults, how to get through all of that. And so, yeah, y'all had to white knuckle through it, and nobody was telling y'all what to do. But now you've done that. Now you can appeal to the younger generations, and you can bring them into your message, whatever that message is, and get shit done. Context said millennials were sheltered. Zoomers were given everything they wanted because millennials couldn't handle the stress of saying no. Gotcha. All right. So yeah, millennials were sheltered, absolutely. And Zoomers given everything because millennials couldn't handle the stress of saying no. This is true, but again, as we're moving past childhood, certainly, there's definitely still, millennials who are like, oh my God, adulting. But I think that's more in the minority. Most millennials, I think, have figured out, okay, you got to be a real person at some point. And then Zoomers are barely out of high school, if even. And so I think that the timing matters. Maybe today, maybe yesterday, maybe last week, a Zoomer was not ready to hear the experience of a Gen Xer and take it seriously as a reason that's connected to their problems. 2 years from now? 5 years from now? Or are we saying that no, because they had lived a different life, when they are 50 years old, they will not be able to understand how the world worked before they were born? That don't make sense, right? Master said Gen X parents are definitely guilty of being friends with their kids more than parents. Interesting. Again, I had boomer parents, and it's certainly more than. So you're saying Gen X parents are definitely more guilty of being friends with their kids than parents. How would you then, as a Gen Xer, you said you're a Gen Xer, right? Compare millennials and what Guamtech was saying, and being guilty of being friends. Would you say that Gen X first did this and the millennials did it more? Or would you say it would be different? Wayne says Gen X parents were the first to have society tell them how to raise their kids. What show your work. I'm interested. What was that? What was society telling? Because again, this kind of, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just asking for clarification, because that kind of goes contrary to the idea that the latchkey kids and the story I just told about. We haven't seen Billy since last Sunday. We'll give it one more day before we worry about it. You just got to be home before the streetlights come on. So again, not challenging you. I'm just curious what you mean by that. So what did society tell the parents to and I guess so you're talking about like soft parenting, that kind of thing. Mega Moo says I bring this up because I've seen friends parent their kids with this approach, polite discipline. We were spanked and sent to our room, and that was a way to develop don't take no shit. I definitely agree with that. There's definitely a shift. But I think there was definitely a shift needed. There's certainly as we were just saying, the children should be seen and not heard. That's not a good way to make good adults. That's a good way to make good kids. So we did need to move in that direction. I will certainly not protect the millennials for taking things too far. That's what millennials do. So this idea of wanting to be not a friend to your kid, but friendly and open so that you can have a relationship with your kid. That was the goal. And again, I think just millennials took that too far. And then, the Zoomers, they saw it and going even further. But again, I'm kind of talking out of my ass here. I don't have kids, so don't know. One master said it started with Gen X and now it's the culture. Makes sense. Self-help books, psychology, like Oprah. That makes sense. But again, this is what we need to relay to the kids who don't get it. Maybe it's not going to be today. Maybe it's not going to be tomorrow. But they absolutely, eventually, will be able to figure it out. Hey, shout out to Mega Moo 32 with the super sticker. No question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Thank you so much. Come here, Mark. Come here. All right. He is eating pretty yummy. We got some apple and honey treats here. He loves them. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Oh, I apologize. I forgot to update the banner. Let me update the banner for y'all. It's harder when I don't have a video to go to. Wayne said things like when we were gone from morning to streetlight, no one thought twice about it. Our kids, if we didn't know where the kids were for an hour, we were bad parents. Gotcha. So the shift from allowing kids to kind of have their own level of maturity based on the child versus this is how it should be. 32. Thank you again, Mega Moo, and I apologize, Amanzifa. You know I love you, brother. You know I love you. Oh, but she have sponsored you. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good boy. I love my little Morty. Thank you so very much. Lomtech agree. Said I do feel like the best form of parenting is a mix of hard discipline, but to definitely have the conversation afterwards to help them understand. This thing is scrolling like a motherfucker. Wait, can I zoom out on this? Yeah, there we go. All right. Okay. So I do feel like the best form of parenting is a mix of hard discipline, but to definitely have the conversation afterwards to help them understand. My parents never conversed. Probably why I am a follower of a channel that does mostly conversations. There you go. Exactly. Sorry, buddy. I love you. Podcast. So they told us to be friends and not parents. I've seen this in my own family raising millennials. Parenting as friends taught by those who had no kids, just their own textbooks. Well, that's a whole thing. And I mean, as somebody who went to school for psychology, shout out to JL. Welcome to the party. Yeah, we're talking about Gen X, and is it reasonable for Gen Z to think that Gen X is the worst generation or not? Welcome. That's also another thing. As psychology became more like pop psychology, then everybody felt like, well, if Dr. Phil said it, then it must be the way across the board. And again, going back to the way that Gen Xers were raised, it was like, okay, you're a person. If you can handle this, if you can not die, then you're good to just go do whatever you want. And so again, I think a balance there maybe was necessary, but millennials taking it too damn far. Thanks. Says team sports also help developmental skills, communication skills, team building, discipline, camaraderie, etc. Kids are going into sports much later in their development stage nowadays. There's too much stuff online. Yeah. So, and again, bringing it back to the original point of Gen X, when we factor in things like this, where they don't have not only are they not going outside to play, they don't understand the value in going outside to play. The touch grass meme is only a thing because the only reason to go outside in their minds is just not to get their brain fried. Not that there's benefit in nature, not that it's better to interact with people in real life. I even myself forgot that how important it was to be in person. When I went to the Distant Dialogues thing, I just forgot how different it is. Been online and talking to people and collabing here and there and having this person on the window and whatever, but shaking somebody's hand and it's just different. Shout out to Robert. Welcome to the party. Well, Defoe said, trying to be your child's friend was a ludicrous belief from the start. I see what you did there. Inside joke. You will never know unless you join the Discord. It is free to join the Discord, guys. 24/7. We are in there hanging out. And if you become a member of the channel, you get full access to not just the free channel, but all the other stuff, including the voice channel, where after every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. stream, we go in there. We don't have to worry about the YouTube censors. We don't have to worry about being behind your keyboard. You're on screen with me and everybody else. So make sure you join. Thank you. Go on, text us a Meg. I've seen the opposite here in Ohio. Seems like parents are just throwing their kids into sports constantly just to keep them busy. Team sports are okay, but I'm more partial to martial arts. So, I mean, obviously I'm going to agree, but that's splitting hairs, I think, at the what we're actually talking about. And so any kind of organization like that with all the discipline, that is like the difference between a kid who plays baseball and a kid who does jiu-jitsu is going to be much smaller than a kid who doesn't do shit and a kid who plays baseball. To be fair, Plungecast said, I was a youth worker from 97 to 2002, working with 12 to 30-year-olds. So I got to see all types of parenting. Those raised as friends were some of the worst to lead and get involved in activity. Yeah, well, have you guys seen any of the videos of what current teachers, middle school teachers, are experiencing? It's all this. There's usually, according to this one teacher that I follow on TikTok, there's usually out of a class of like 20 kids, there's maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 that are in there willing to do the work, wanting to learn, and everybody else is either just not paying attention on their phone, doing something else, headphones in, or actively disrupting the class. And so, I think going back to what Meg said, I think the parenting has a lot to do with it. So I did a video the other day of. Oh, actually, let's go back to the video. So the topic basically: is it reasonable for Gen X, is it reasonable for Gen Z to think that Gen X is the worst generation? So we had one saying this is the worst generation.
Millennials decided that we're not gonna open that can of worms. Let me tell you something about Gen X. Both my parents are Gen X. I'm gonna make this real simple, real easy. No, because Gen X kids were brought up. I mean, they were the latchkey kids. They were the first real generation of latchkey kid. But like, they also didn't really have the internet. I mean, you wanted to hurt someone's feelings, you had to do it to their face. Right? Gen X practically invented the saying, I have time. Like, fuck around and find out how much time I have. Talk shit, get hit. That's not my generation. That was Gen X.
That was them. And there's plenty more here. And I just think it's so funny. Let's watch a couple more of these. And then it takes a little bit of a turn. And so we'll get back to the turn in a minute. But Robert's saying, sports create great personalities. More competition means less people will be poor. Will be poor sports and give up. Good. Robert. Wayne said, I've noticed over the years that the younger generations are losing the skills of reading body language and speaking tones. And that was so very well helped by 2 years of lockdown and masks, right? They struggle to get the mood of interactions. Yeah. And it goes back to the social media, the lack of human interaction, all of that stuff. And I think, there is, that stuff's not going away. So we have to find a way to reach. How do we reach these kids? We have to find a way to show them that there's inherent value in doing things in real life. I don't think that they understand that is a thing. Genuinely. I was like, I cannot imagine being inside all day and not be in sports. The worst generation is the one now, Gen Z. But see, again, if you have this this perspective, like, these are children, bro. We talk about children. You're the grown man. Let the children have stupid ideas. That's what children are for. You have kids. Oh yeah, cancel culture, all that stuff. Yeah, I agree with all that. But again, it's not about are they right or wrong. It's not about are they right or wrong. It's about why do they think the way they do. They think the way they do because they see a world that the Gen X hated when the Boomers were running it, and we're still in that world. They don't know the reasons. How could they? The only experience with a Boomer they've ever had is falling from a 70-year-old guy falling for memes on Facebook. So it makes sense. They would think, wait, you couldn't deal with this? Makes sense. Punchcast said face to face, never behind backs, because you had no anonymity. You really learned, Fafo, fuck around and find out. Like agrees with Wayne. It seems like it's either monotone or completely over the top to choose from. Yeah, these kids are cooked. So we went. There's two more things I want to show you here. And as you know, as I. Oh, all right. So a couple more things that sparked some conversation. And again, if you go to the video, there is people writing paragraphs in the comments about this, and it makes sense. But again, there's a disconnect. There is a disconnect, and you can't rely on the children to fix that. JL says, I feel like the 2000 and 2007 people made it out good. Those growing up now, especially when parents are not involved or busy, will grow up online seeing rubbish. I agree. Yeah, I probably would say a little bit earlier even, but yeah, generally I agree with that take. I agree. It's just mush. All right, so we had this one guy who had a slightly different opinion, the Gen Xer, slightly different opinion. When I got started to thinking, you know what, maybe this is a little bit deeper than I thought.
We're just not gonna do it. We're not gonna organize to make the world a better place. We are purely concerned with whatever little patch of the world we've managed to iron out for ourselves.
Is he wrong?
And we're just gonna try.
So again, this is a Gen Xer responding, and because initially the Zoomers were like, oh, they're the worst. And then the millennials were like, oh, don't wake up, Gen X. And then a bunch of Gen Xers were like, you don't know what we had to deal with. And now this one guy is saying like, no, we ain't gonna do shit. Robert, no, I'm not, but the Zoomers definitely are. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is how you think this is how you change people's minds? This is not how you change people's minds, homie.
Try and exist in it quietly for as long as possible. I know some weirdo with a nose ring was like, I think we can't agree. Gen X are the worst. And I'm like, yeah, we fucking are the worst. We watched our hero Kurt Cobain blow his head off with a shotgun at the height of his fame. This was back before not just anyone could be famous. It was literally a rare and precious thing. This guy blew his head off. We went from records to cassette tapes to CDs to laserdiscs to DVDs to LimeWire. We understand that things are not permanent. So
we understand that things are not permanent. So maybe there's a reason. That Gen X didn't do anything. That's everything. So again, the idea here is not that no Gen Xer. Well, that's, I'll take that. But again, this you just missed. Go back to the beginning. You missed too much. Funkmaster said, I was just thinking about my second grade teacher dragging me to the principal by my ear. When I got home, I got in trouble. We were the last generation to get that treatment. And again, agreed. I mean, I got that treatment, but again, I had boomer parents. Gen Xers were like, oh, now we're taking the side of the kid. This is my baby. Why didn't you're the teacher? You're supposed to teach him. Everything is completely turned up. Exactly, Plungecast. That it makes sense. It does make sense that you would be tired. Hey, we tried. We did this. We're outnumbered. I get that. They don't. So the options are help them understand or keep them being angry at you. That's it. Robert, you're not. I'm not saying this. That's what I said. Go back. You missed too much. You can't just come in the middle and think that you know what you're talking about. We're talking about a specific video where a specific Zoomer did say that Gen X was the worst generation. I disagreed, and now I'm showing why it is, even though I disagree, is a reasonable position. Let's go to this this last one here, where the guy kind of this guy definitely took things too seriously. But did definitely change my mind. That hit home for me.
Holding the fucking bag. You left.
Wait. Hold on. Where are we? You start hearing what this man is saying, right, and he's not whining like that other girl. He's laying out points here. Wait, Robert, this is what we've been talking about. This is what we're talking about. This is what we've been talking about. How is that Zoomer a dumbass? How do they know what Gen X did? How do they know what a boomer was like when they were 50 years old? Did you know what the silent generation was like? Did you tell them? That's the point. You can just, the young kids, you don't know what I was like. That's what the boomers did to you, and you hated it. It shut you down. And now you're doing the same exact shit. This is the point. If you want things to be better, then do things better. Wayne Thompson said, Gen X is just different than other generations. We're direct and don't soften what we say. Life gives the test and then the lesson, we try to help it. But, and that's fair. We're in you're at a place now. Again, things are changing. You're at a place now where you can take on millennials, you can take on even Zoomers and have that conversation and not treat them as if they are only children. Yes, they are the children of the conversation, but you don't have to treat them as if they are little kids who can't understand. Unless you don't want them to. If you want them to keep hating you, go for it. If you want them to be, you want us to all be on the same side and finally retire the boomers from Congress, well, listen up. Choice is yours. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just gonna say, yep, cane, rulers, belts, hose pipes, electric cords, wooden spoons. Be honest, let the Zoomers think they are changing the world by protesting for the enemy states as the future money is handed over. But that's the point. We don't want that. They have the energy. Why are we just, quote unquote, letting them put it in the wrong place? Why not dictate where that energy goes to actually help us? We're all still young. It's not like we're old and it's like, oh, well, you know. If you're a Gen Xer, you're what? 40, 50, 55? You still got a whole period of life left. So are you going to give up? You're free to do that. But then don't complain. Don't complain when the Zoomers don't understand what Gen X experienced if you're not willing to say anything. You can't do that. All right. So this is, again, this guy, again, I am saying he took this too seriously. He took this too seriously. I do not agree with the tone here. I do not agree with the tone here. I just want to show you that it changed my mind. It started to make me think. I'm like, damn, I did not realize that I felt this way. I did feel this way, specifically about my brother, specifically within my household, but maybe as an analog to. Next is, so after the Zoomers is Alpha, Generation Alpha. We're being boomers.
Okay. I've had a bone to pick with you motherfuckers since y'all started running away because you couldn't deal with the problems at home. Yeah, y'all are the runaway generation. Y'all the motherfuckers who ran away from the house because you couldn't take mom and dad. Y'all stayed to yourself, your Ferris Buellers, your Breakfast Clubs. You didn't do shit. You didn't change shit. You didn't fight from shit. You ran. And you hid. And you're the lost generation because you didn't do shit. You just accepted it.
Tell me if he's wrong. Tell me if he's wrong. You're the lost generation because you didn't do shit. What have you done? We're not talking about individual Gen Xers. Obviously, the people who are holding up this shattering house. I'm going to skip through my commentary because I'm basically saying the same shit. Right. Come on. Okay. What have y'all been doing?
And fight from shit. You ran. And you hid. And you're the lost generation because you didn't do shit. You just accepted it. You became the 9-to-5 worker.
Hold up.
You didn't become the revolution.
We don't do that here. I'm gonna put you on a timeout. Come back when you come back. You can be better, totally fine, but we don't play that here.
Revolutionaries.
Nope. Do we have?
You didn't do shit.
On Montefiore, are you here? Can you time him out, please?
You left millennials holding the fucking bag. You left
Yep. And you left millennials helping holding the bag, and that's real. That is why. That is real. That is why when millennials were in college, there was so much to complain about, even if they did it in some of the worst ways and started some of these tactics that we're still seeing. And again, I've basically been saying the same thing. I just want you to hear what he has to say. Because again, I don't necessarily agree with him, but I do think he has a perspective. That's I know he's kind of he's straight up in the agenda, but well, he's making a point, so let him have it.
You didn't become the revolutionaries. You didn't do shit. You left millennials holding the fucking bag. You left zennials having to be older brothers when we were younger brothers and the middle children of history.
Bro, I've talked to you guys specifically. What did he say? We had to be older brothers when we were younger brothers. Now, when I say this is more kind of about my own home and my own brother and my own family than it is about about society, it is, but it also fits. But I've talked to you guys before about how we didn't have a super close family, and I have an older brother and a younger sister. And my dad worked a lot, so it was mostly my mom at home. And when we were younger, my brother would play and do this, that, whatever, play sports and whatever. And then he went off to college and never turned back, leaving me and my sister at home, knowing that it wasn't a happy place, knowing he was getting out, never turned around and said, hey, if you need a break, I'm here. Guess what I did when I went to college? Even though my sister was a popular kid and didn't need it, I told her, hey, look, I sat her down. I was like, look, I understand. Hey, Matt, he left us here. I'm going off to college, but I'm always a phone call away. I will always be here. If there's anything, if it gets too crazy at this house, as I know it does, then you can call me. So when he says, you made millennials be older brothers when we were supposed to be younger brothers, that hit home. That hit home for me. I just want to let him finish, and then I'll come back to these chats.
Holding the fucking bag. You left zennials having to be older brothers when we were younger brothers and the middle children of history. Gen X, what are you doing? Who the fuck is supposed to be afraid of you? Because if there's a line, if you want to get the pink hair girl, you're going to have to fucking walk through people like me. And I have had beef with you fucking bastards longer than you fucking think. If you really think I'm going to let you get to my younger brother before you have to go through me?
No, obviously, bro, relax. It's a TikTok trend. All right, relax. But he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
After you little chicken shits ran from what we had to fucking go through, we had to deal with the boomers, not you. That's why the fucking millennials and Gen Z have the fucking fire to burn this bitch down, because they're our kids.
Oof. They're y'all's kids. So, again, don't necessarily co-sign every aspect of that. But I think there are points that he made. And even if you don't agree with them, if a Zoomer watches that, that's what we're talking about. Perception is reality. So if you want the perception of your generation to change, then that's in your hands. So Plungecast says they're ignorant of the world and don't want to research, just easily manipulated by social media. They should get educated, not idealized. Then we will take them seriously. That's not how it works, bro. That's not how it works. They are the children. You are the adult. I agree. The other thing too was that he was born in '83, so he basically is a Gen X. So again, I'm not co-signing the tone. I'm just saying there's points that have been made. Buckmaster said we also saw the Berlin Wall come down, the Russian collapse, Yugoslavia collapse, and our only major war lasted 2 weeks. Okay, what does that mean to a Zoomer? Again, I know this, guys. I'm on your side. I'm on your side. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to bridge the gap. This is what these people are thinking. I didn't tell them to think that. So again, the choice is either accept, okay, this is what people think of us, or do something to change it. Up to you. So they walk around with a computer in their pocket, talk to their friends in a second, not waiting for hours to see them or getting home to call them if parents allowed it. I raised two of my siblings as both parents were working. With this guy, who are you? Clearly some boomers. Clearly some boomers. But it sounds like grandma and grandpa raised him because daddy went to get milk. Oh, come on. Oh, my God. Baldy Locks is a douchebag. So again, you guys, I feel like you're missing the point here. I'm not asking you, hey, what do you guys think about what this guy had to say? That's not what we're doing. Is that what you think we're doing? The question is, what do you think a Zoomer is going to think when they hear that and see that? That's the point. That's the point. If you already know, you don't have to fight about you're already right. The Zoomers are wrong. They are children that don't understand the world. But that's how it always is. It is up to the older generations to set the tone and let the young, ignorant kids come up in a world where they can understand. But instead, they came up in a world where the same boomers that oppressed y'all, oppressed all of us, and now is oppressing them. And it wasn't until millennials were starting, especially if we're talking specifically politically, it wasn't really until the millennials were in college that were really making waves and shaking up the status quo. I'm not saying you personally did anything wrong. I'm not saying that dude is perfectly right. I'm saying these are realities. These are perceptions that people have. Do with it what you will. Shout out to Roger M in the building. Welcome, welcome. So I started working at 15 years old and catching a bus to school and helping my parents pay the mortgage. Wow. Shout out to that. Welcome to the party. We also got Woke Dragon. Welcome, welcome. But I will say the same thing I said in the comments. They divide us with race and gender, and now they are attacking us by age. How am I falling for more boomer shit if I'm specifically saying, let's not fight each other? I'm specifically saying, let's not fight each other. Look at the comments. Y'all are the ones, oh, fuck this, fuck that, fuck that, fuck that. Y'all are the ones that are being divided. That's what I'm telling you. I'm saying this. I'm saying this. That's what I'm saying. Y'all are falling for boomer shit. Stop falling for boomer shit and being mad at Zoomers. Zoomers are children who don't know any better. This is precisely what I'm saying. I agree 100% with Woke Dragon here. 100%. Yeah, no, yeah. So if you are, absolutely, you're falling for the boomer shit. Spot on. Spot on. Wayne said, Gen X invented Google. We created playlists and shared them before the internet. Music. Okay. And I again, are you trying to appeal to me? You don't need to appeal to me. I'm already on your team, Wayne. I already believe that your generation is better than the Zoomer generation as of right now. I'm not the one you need to convince. That's the part y'all keep missing. I already agree with you. I already agree with you. I'm trying to bridge the gap. Just like Woke Dragon said. They divide us with race and gender, and now they attack us by age. You're all falling for the more boomer shit. Come on, Buckmaster. What I mean is that we didn't have social media there to propagandize us against our own country, family, and community. They have everything ready to turn them against us from the other side of the world. Okay. And so do we. We have social media. There's a lot more of us than there are of them. Especially if you team up with millennials and Zoomers. When some of my comments for the other generations, what did I say? Well, okay, no, I wasn't talking to you, obviously. But my point is that this is the stuff that we need to be telling the Zoomers. And you say we didn't seek recognition. Seek recognition. Seek recognition. Get recognized. You did do shit. But they don't know. Because like, oh, well, you went to. I get it. But there's a new generation and they don't understand. So we have to do things differently. So I just wanted to pop on here and talk to you guys about this because fair enough. Because there was a lot. It did seem like there was a little bit of confusion of where I personally was coming from in terms of what I feel about Gen X. And again, I want to make it clear that I'm pro Gen X. I think Gen X did a lot of great things. I think that the lives that the childhood, the type of childhood that a Gen X kid have is the type of childhood that any child of any generation should have, and that leads to all the things that are great about Gen X. But the problem is that the Gen X as parents and millennials as parents didn't do a great job in helping that. And so now this is our opportunity to bring us all together and retire the boomers. And on this, Roger said, most of us turn into our parents sometimes. Unfortunately. The point is to do better. Not that your parents aren't great people, but that the mistakes that they made, you don't want to make the same ones. Yeah, that's a good point too. If you didn't know how, and now that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for, to try to bring people together. Because I get it. Gen X is angry at and not even angry. Gen X was angry, and now so many are just like, I've given all I can give. I get it. They don't, and I am happy to help. I am happy to help and articulate whatever needs to be articulated and all of that stuff. Punchcast said, I do appreciate this convo. It shows there are many of us Xers on here who actually care about our young future. Absolutely. And that's the saddest part of it all, is that, of course, y'all care. Of course you want good things. But they don't know that. And they should know that. Not because they should already know it, but because they should be taught that. Because there are so many things about Gen X that created the aspects of culture that we do like and fought against the aspects of culture that we don't like. And I want to preserve that. I want to push that further. I want to, in that way, go back to a world more like children can grow up like Gen X children grew up. So if you agree, we're on the same team. Thank you so much for hanging out, guys. Once again, I am your host, Lech, a.k.a. The Indian Jesus. I am live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, down in the studio with the full setup and everything. I just like doing some of these vertical lives to bring in some new people. We are always looking for new people to party with, so make sure if you are new, welcome. Hit that subscribe and comment through to the party. As you can see, I'm very engaged with the chat. I love having the conversations with you guys, I love it. So if you're on the replay, let me know. Did this clear anything up? Do you still think I'm wrong, or what's going on with all of that? Thank you so very, very much. I do appreciate you guys. Until next time, once again, that was Morty, and I am your host, Lech, a.k.a. The Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, guys, I am out of here. Peace.